Well, the White House turns its focus to international affairs this week. It is hosting a summit with dozens of African countries and keeping an eye on the war in Ukraine. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen?
Good evening to you, Tracy. The three-day USAfrica Leaders Summit, as it's called, officially begins tomorrow. Now, it is the biggest global gathering in D.C. since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, if you can believe it. And there's a lot to discuss, including attacks on religious freedom.
The White House says this week's U.S.-Africa Summit will emphasize everything from business and health to peace and security. President Joe Biden also supports adding the African Union as a permanent member of the influential Group of 20, otherwise called the G20.
And really, the spirit of this summit is not what we will do for African nations and peoples, but what we will do with African nations and peoples.
Still, there are deep concerns on the continent, including problems with Nigeria. The Alliance Defending Freedom wants it listed as a country of concern due to Christian persecution.
Nigeria is one of those countries where we're seeing a lot of really terrible violations of religious freedom.
ADF attorney Sean Nelson also told us,
just last year, there were over 4,650 Christians who were killed in Nigeria for their faith. That's more than Christians killed in all of the other countries combined.
The Biden administration is playing down the concern about growing Chinese and Russian influence in Africa. This comes as Russia continues to strike Ukraine's power grid. President Biden spoke to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky again over the weekend, promising to strengthen Ukraine's air defense and the stability of Ukraine's energy grid. President Biden also issued a statement today celebrating 200 years of United States-Mexico relations, adding, "This bicentennial is even more meaningful because it falls upon the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe, a holiday with deep religious and cultural significance."
And earlier today, President Biden and the First Lady took part in a Toys for Tots program in nearby Virginia. Meanwhile, listen to this, a victory for Catholic doctors who raised conscience objections. A U.S. appeals court ruled they could not be forced to perform gender transition surgeries despite a mandate from the Biden administration. The ruling cited the importance of religious freedom. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.